Okay, this is the third in the series of Kundalini awakening symptoms, and I'm going to try to put it into a greater context time frame for you, because probably if you're experiencing Kundalini awakening symptoms, the most burning question in your mind is how long these things going to last. And I've asked myself a lot, in desperation, of course, too. There's different types of Kundalini awakenings, so some just experience a little bit of symptoms, so they experience the energy coming up their spine, and as an episode that didn't last all that long, maybe 1 or 2 days, and maybe a few years later they experience something else. And then there's other people who experience just some kind of awakening, and it tends to go on forever, and they're always feeling the symptoms no matter what. And then in between those two, there's all sorts of variations. So you have these types of, and they're both considered to be Kundalini awakenings. So the teachers generally won't tell you how long it's going to last, not as if they know, because there's too many unquantifiable type of variables in the equation. But they don't want to tell you anyway, because it generally lasts a lot longer than the students want to know. People want to think that they're going to get enlightened pretty quickly, just because they possibly made some spiritual progress, quite a bit of spiritual progress, and the teachers want to allow that enthusiasm and rope it in and keep it going for the periods of time where you feel like you're not making a lot of progress. I mean, at that time you might be making a lot of progress. It might be just at that time where you're feeling you're not making any progress is when you're making a lot of progress. That's what it is. That's what it's like for sports and arts and things like that as well. So I'm going to describe to you since we're here in South China, I'm going to describe to you the Taoist model of. They've classified it all for a potential monk who's practicing and doing all the meditations, everything that he should be doing. So it takes 1 year for his chi to be transformed, number one. 2 years for his blood, 2 years of practice for his blood to be transformed. 3 years for his chi channels to be transformed. And 4 years for his muscles and flesh to be transformed. And 5 years for his marrow to be transformed. 6 years of practice for his sinews and tendons to be transformed. 7 years of practice for his bones to be transformed. 8 years of practice for his hair to be transformed. And that's when your hair goes from any graying signs to back to youthful hair. 9 years practice for his body form and shape to be transformed. And body form and shape, it could go back to more sort of a youthful glow, a youthful skin, youthful everything. Or it might also mean, you've heard of Taoist masters who are, you might have heard of this, who are able to demolecularize, sort of change their material body into a non-material substance and travel that way. So it might mean that too. And then there's another classification scheme known as the golden flower, the secret of the golden flower. So here's the secret. 100 days of laying the foundation, so that's 100 days of celibacy. So normally, if you practice celibacy for 90 days or 100 days, you will have enough energy stored up so that Kundalini has enough impulse and power to awaken in your system. Then you have 10 months of pregnancy, and that's pregnancy with the yin body, Y-I-N. And that's associated with astral travel and out-of-body experience and that type of thing. But that's just one phase. What you're really going for is a yang body, right? Which is a much more refined, stable, immortal body, right? So you have this 3 years it takes, and it's called 3 years of suckling the baby. And then you have 9 years of facing the wall. So after 3 years, your yang body will form, and after 9 years, you'll make it more stable because it's still unstable. And often we've heard of the story of the 9 years of facing the wall, the Zen monk who gained enlightenment, but that's actually wrong. What happens to that. It was the fourth or fifth Zen patriarch, and he became fully enlightened. I think it was the first Zen patriarch, but anyway, he became fully enlightened when he heard the Diamond Sutra chanted in the marketplace in Canton, and but he had to spend 9 years facing the wall to make sure it's permanent. And often we hear Westerners, when we hear that, we think, oh, 9 years facing the wall, I wouldn't want to do that. That's a big waste of time, just to gain enlightenment. But the fact is, it's not that easy. If it were that easy to gain enlightenment just by staring at a wall for 9 years, then every monk in every school around the world would just be doing that, staring at walls, and they'll be enlightened and pump them out. But that's not it. So, as far as making spiritual progress goes, it's sometimes difficult to know when you've made some sort of progress. It sometimes seems that it's an unconscious shift in your body, and your behavior just changes in some way. It almost seems like sometimes you've downloaded something, like New Agey people talk about downloading something during full moons, whatnot, and then from then on your mind just works in a different way, a better way, a more evolved way, a way that's more in tune with the oneness of nature. And you can talk about coincidences. Coincidences, like Chinese put a lot of emphasis on what is coincidence. We've heard of the every when the student is ready, the teacher appears type thing. So if a teacher were to sort of walk from behind me, out from those rocks, and just by chance, because I'm not in any particular place where any teachers might be, I don't think. But supposing one were to walk out from behind me, I would have to say that is sort of like the universe guiding me, the universe guiding us to put us together so that I could make progress that way. Now, if the situation were as I were to go to a place where I knew that teachers were just because I had something in my head that I wanted to learn, I said, oh, you got to teach me this, then that is less chance that would be yuan. That wouldn't be the universe guiding me so much, so it wouldn't be so obvious. So it might be to a certain level. Now, why did you click on this video? You learned something new, maybe about spirituality. So maybe that was the universe guiding you. Not that I'm any sort of guru or teacher to an extent, but the information I'm giving you is passed down by gurus. So if you didn't know that, maybe there's a chance that this interaction between us is some kind of yuan fen. And this is where the whole field of divination and using cards and throwing moons and things like that can come into play as well, to help you make decisions or understand that the universe is guiding you in a certain way. I'll probably make another video on that later because it's too much of a topic. But if your Kundalini is awakened and you're making slow progress, what you have to understand is I've noticed that there's two types of people, basically, that are passive about their awakening, and another category that are more active about their awakening. So the active people are systematic people who meditate a lot, who strive to understand about the categories and levels and they energy practices, and they go out of their way to really make time for it in their life and devote time and effort to it, and they see it as a time and effort thing. And then there's the sort of the classification that, okay, I'm going to let it happen to me, my Kundalini is awakened, but I didn't do anything to awaken this Kundalini, so therefore I'm not really in control of my awakening, but I'm just going to allow it to happen. So that's the other sort of classification of people who are just sort of waiting around for things to happen. And they both have merit or some sort of truth to them, and you're going to have to find out which sort of like one feels more comfortable with you. I'm more on the active path, and because it seems to me that there are a lot of people with awakened Kundalini who are, they gain a certain amount of awakening experiences, and they also have a lot of kooky beliefs as they create their own, you know, cosmologies, and they change their lifestyle to a more Kundalini-ish lifestyle, and yet if they haven't achieved what we call final liberation, then what is it all for? So I'd want to make damn sure that if my lifestyle has changed so much to the point that I am on a path of walking the path of spirituality most of the time during the day, then I would make damn sure that I use every effort, everything at my disposal to achieve awakening. And so that's why I'm on a more active path, and obviously my bias is towards that. So because I've just seen older Kundalini awakening people, like in their, say, 60s, 70s, who are very spiritual and in tune, but by no means are they awakened completely. So I think that you would want to make sure that you're doing everything possible, meditating a lot, practicing energy practices, doing all the cultivation practices that you can think of, so that you can achieve a awakening in your lifetime.